Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Google Certification Live. This is John Sowash coming to you from Howell, Michigan. Thanks for joining me. We'll officially get started at 8 o'clock, but I just want to greet the early arrivers. Great to have you. Thanks again for joining me. I'm excited to talk about Google certifications tonight and help you get started and plan your certification experience. So just sit tight. Like I said, we'll get started officially at 8 o'clock. If you have your planning guide nearby, that would be great. Emailed that out earlier today. If you could print that and just have it nearby, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But, great to have you. See, we've got about 43 people so far. Should have a few more, and we'll get started in a little while. Welcome, everyone. See, we've got quite a few people joining us. Appreciate it. See Deborah from Connecticut. Welcome. And Scott from West Virginia. Hey, Victor, I see your comment earlier. I was on mute. Should be coming through now. A couple Michigan people here. Hi, Gail from Canton, Michigan, and Phil from Grand Rapids. Great. Hey, Bob Clark. Nice to see you. I'll be making a visit down your way soon. So we'll get started in a few minutes at 8 o'clock, about 6 minutes. So grab your favorite beverage. I've got my coffee here, and we'll get started in a little bit. Got some things to give away tonight, which should be fun. Have some generous people. My friends Matt Miller and Alice Keeler gave me a couple copies of Ditch That Homework. I'm going to be giving away. Got Alice Keeler's book, 50 Things to Do with Google Classroom. Alice gave me all kinds of stuff. 50 or teaching math with Google. And then I also have a couple copies of my book, Chromebook Classroom, and give those away as well. So I'm just going to ask a couple of trivia questions and give those out to a couple of you early arrivers. So actually, let's do that first. I'll ask you first trivia question. Give away one of these books. Take a guess. How many Google Certified Trainers do you think there are globally? I'll take, I've got the chat pulled up here. Person I see who's closest to the answer, I will give one of Alice Keeler's books to. So again, the question is, how many Google Certified Trainers are there? All right, so Heidi says 150,000. Dennis, 2348. Corey Woodward, you are the winner. Corey, the correct answer. Now, we don't know exactly. Google doesn't publish them, but the last number that was shared was 2,000 Google Certified Trainers. And Corey, find your answer again. Corey Woodward, you were the first one I saw to post that. So let me throw that in. Corey is, you're going to get a copy of Alice Keeler's 50 Things to Do with Google Classroom. I'm typing this up. Things to do with Google Classroom. Corey, what I need you to do is click reply on one of the emails that I sent and just remind me that you won the book. And if you would send me your mailing address, I will get that out in the mail to you over the weekend. Should have it in a couple of days. Congratulations to you. Also want to, some of you have been on my email list for a long time. Want to thank you for being a subscriber. Who knows or remembers the topic or the focus for my last newsletter? So that'd be the April newsletter sent out a few weeks ago, had a very specific focus. What was the focus of my last newsletter? First person I see who gets that correct, I will give a copy of Ditch That Homework by Matt Miller and Alice Keeler. This is an active chat here. There we go. Chris, nope, was not Gmail. Nope. Although I need to do one. I'm going to chat about that new Gmail here coming up. Nick, nope, not quite. Just a little more specific. There it is. Danielle Weinstein. Awesome. Google Forms. Yes, I'm actually been doing a ton of work with Google Forms lately. I actually have a course going on right now on Forms. So Danielle, congratulations. You are the winner of Ditch That Homework by Matt Miller and Alice Keeler. Type that up. So Danielle, same thing. If you would send me an email, just click reply to one of the emails that I sent about this webinar and send me your mailing address. I will get that in the mail to you here soon. So I'm curious, how many of you have turned on the new experimental Gmail? It's pretty crazy. It was just announced late yesterday afternoon. I'll give you a quick screen share here. I don't know if you've turned it on yet. Expand this a little bit more. I have to say, it usually takes a while to adjust, but I am really, really excited about this new update. It's brilliant. Let me show you here. Do this. So this is what we're looking at. This is the new Gmail interface. So it's pretty clean. One thing I really like over on the right side here is we have integration now with Google Calendar. So you can look at your Google Calendar right from within Gmail. You can access all of your Google Keep notes, which is really cool. And then Google Task, which I am a big user of, has a major refresh, which is great because Google Task looked like it was designed in like 1996. So it's a lot more modern. So love that. And then I also have really I love the fact that I can collapse this side menu here over on the left. It took up quite a bit of space in the old Gmail, but by clicking the little hamburger icon in the corner, I can hide that. Just gives you more space across to look at your messages. Smart Reply, the snooze, I see quite a few of you have mentioned that. So if you're interested, you can absolutely turn this on for a personal Gmail account. All you have to do is click the little fidget spinner, the gear over in the top right corner here, and it'll say try the new Gmail. You may not be able to do it for your Google Apps account. It just depends if your district IT person has enabled it. They have to go into the admin console and allow you to do that. Not really any harm in doing that. It doesn't change it. You still have to opt in. So if you can't do it for your school account, if you send an email to your IT person, say, hey, can we get this turned on? That way you'll be able to explore it. But I'm impressed. I was pretty nervous. They haven't touched Gmail in forever. But so far, I'm thrilled. I think it's a great interface. Looks awesome. Yeah. So Heidi's a convert now. A lot of white space. Google's into the white space. B. Booley. Yeah, I need to write up instructions on how to turn it on. If you just do a Google search for it, you should be able to find it. You just go into the admin console, go to apps, go to Gmail, and then if you just scroll through the settings for Gmail, you'll see an option that says allow or enable the new Gmail interface. So cool. Well, if you don't get anything else out of this webinar, I've screwed up all your Gmail accounts now. So you can always switch back if you get stuck. But now you've got it. Good. We're going to get started here in just a minute. I've got 8:03. We've got about 142 people who are joining us, which is awesome. Excited to share with you for the next little bit. Talk about Google certifications. Now, the purpose of this webinar is to give you clear steps that you can take to become a Google Certified Educator this summer. There are 5 different Google certifications, and I'll be speaking about all 5 of them throughout the webinar. So it doesn't matter if you're don't know anything at all, that's fine. If you're already a level 1 or even a level 2 educator, that's great as well. We'll be talking about the certified trainer and innovator programs. If you're a district administrator, we're also going to be talking about the Google Certified Admin program as well. So hopefully something for everyone. I really enjoyed the introductions that a lot of you left on my Facebook post. That was awesome. I got to chat with you a little bit, and we have people from all over the world. I had a ton of people emailing me from Australia, England, Denmark, who wanted to join, but they were a little reluctant to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch this, which is what it'd be over there. So I'm going to send them the recording of this webinar. We're going to take about roughly, I've got it scheduled till 9:30. Probably won't go that long, depends on the question period. But in the next 50 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about my experience in 2009 at the Google Teacher Academy. I'm going to overview quickly the 5 certifications. I'm going to give you a list of resources to help you study and prepare for your certification exam. We're going to talk about the Google Innovator program, which is rapidly approaching. That's a very exciting opportunity for some of you. We'll talk about becoming a Google Certified Trainer. Also, we're going to be joined by a friend of mine, Lissa Brunan from Grand Valley State University, who completed the certification process last year. She's going to join us and share her experience a little bit, and then have an opportunity to talk with you about the Google Certification Academy, which is making its way to hopefully a school district near you over the summer. In 2009, I had the privilege of attending the Google Teacher Academy in Boulder, Colorado. I'm going to show you a younger version of myself here. So this is a picture from that event in 2009. I applied to this program. Honestly, at the time when I applied, Google was cool, but it wasn't nearly as popular or big a deal as it is today. I mean, Google Docs was barely a thing. The Chromebook didn't exist. Android didn't exist. I mean, it was a very, very different world. But I applied to the program and I was accepted. I was shocked. And my wife and I, we drove from Michigan to Boulder, Colorado with our 1-year-old daughter at the time. And I spent one day at the Google office there. And I am not exaggerating when I tell you that this single experience changed my life. Now, I had no idea at the time. I certainly never would have mapped out what transpired over the next 9 years, but I can trace it all back to that one experience. It was really amazing. And at that event, I met some amazing people. I don't know if these names will ring a bell with you, but alongside me there as an attendee was a gentleman by the name of Mark Hammonds, who a few years ago went on to found a company called Breakout EDU. He attended that event. Also there was Chris Betcher from Australia, who's done some amazing things in education. And then also Mark Wagner was there. He went on to found EdTech Team. It was a really amazing group of people. We were all just teachers, just trying to figure out how to use technology more effectively at the time. There wasn't anything necessarily magical about Boulder, Colorado, or about the day itself. It was more about the opportunity for me to connect with some new people, and also just to have my eyes open to what's possible, what you can do with technology. And that followed me for the many, many years. And it's now my desire. I mean, one of the primary things that I do is try to give educators like yourself the opportunity to have a similar experience. Now, everyone is unique, but I really do believe that the Google certifications we're talking about today can help push you to become a better teacher and open up new doors and opportunities that you may not be aware of right now. So I'm super excited to talk with you and share with you how to get certified, what steps you can take, and to maybe be the catalyst to make that happen. Now, before we get into the specifics about the certifications and talk about what they are and how to get them, I want to just briefly review what I believe are the 3 primary reasons that you should consider becoming a Google Certified Educator. The first, and probably the most important, this one applies to everyone. Google has done an absolutely marvelous job creating the certification process that actually does help you grow professionally. I'm a pretty good test taker, which is a blessing and a curse. I can take a test and know nothing. This process, the exams, the steps that you have to take to get certified, you are not going to be able to fake your way through this. It really is going to force you to investigate and look into how you can use Google tools and products to improve instruction. So first and foremost, you should become, I don't know if it's a level 1 educator or certified trainer or innovator, but I guarantee you are going to learn a lot when you prepare for your certification exams and applications. Secondly, over the last 9 years, since I went to the Google Teacher Academy, Google went from kind of a, funny little company that did search and a couple other things to arguably one of the most dominant forces in education. There are over 80 million teachers and students using Google Apps for education. It's estimated by the year 2020, there's going to be over 110 million teachers and students using these tools and products. That is a tremendous user base. There are currently, I think we're up to 30 million Chromebooks in schools right now. 60% of all devices in education are Chromebooks. All of that boils down to the fact that there are not enough educated, knowledgeable teachers who can support the use of these tools and products in the classroom. We need more experts who can support, train, and help teachers use these products effectively. I'm going to try not to get into this, but, we cannot just replace paper with Google Docs. Google Docs and paper are not the same thing. And if a teacher is just using Google Docs as they would paper worksheets, we've missed such a valuable opportunity. And so we need people who are educated, not just, what buttons to click, how to share a Google Doc. Like, that's not the important part. It's how do you transform education with these collaborative, creative, web-based tools and products. And that leads us to the fact that by becoming a Google Certified Educator, you can verify your value to your school district, to your principal, to your administrator to say, hey, not only am I an awesome teacher, but I am also a highly trained, skilled, certified educator in the use of these tools and products. And I am now starting to see, I look at job applications just to kind of see what principals are looking for. I'm starting to see teaching applications list Google Certified as a preferred credential, in addition to your master's degree, certainly your teaching certificate. But are you a Google Certified Educator? So becoming certified is a great way to verify your value, and then also to become an expert. Now, that expert level, to really truly be an expert in the use of these tools, you're going to need to go beyond just the level 1. But you're going to have to, go to level 2 and even into certified trainer and certified innovator, which are very, very selective and prestigious programs, and we'll get into that here in just a bit. So these are, three very hopefully practical reasons that I think becoming a Google Certified Educator can help you in the classroom and beyond. So that's my quick kind of prologue to the certifications. And this might surprise you. This was the quiz question when we started out here, but there's not that many certified educators in the world. So now these numbers are very rough. Okay, Google does not regularly share their certification numbers. They don't share how many users they have. Maybe every couple of years they'll reveal this information. So I pay very close attention, and if I see something, I quickly write it down. So these numbers here are as of 2017, late 2017. There are only 30,000 level 1 certified trainers globally. Now, you talk about there being 80 million users and only 30,000 are certified. That's pretty surprising. So those of you who are level 1 certified, I applaud you. You are already part of a very, very small group of people when you take into account, global population. Secondly, if this is surprising, I mean, you got 30,000 level 1, but look how many level 2 there are. Only 5,000 globally. So you can see there's a huge drop off in the number of level 2 educators. So I'm curious, I've got the chat pulled up here. If you are level 2 certified, give us a shout, give us a wave there. Phil is in, cool. It's pretty surprising that there's not more level 2. And then from there, now I'm not terribly surprised. Certified trainers, 2,000 certified trainers. That is a pretty selective group. We'll get into that, but that's more for instructional techs, media specialists, things like that. And then innovators, only 1,200, which is very, very small. Now, Certified Innovator, that's a competitive program. They're very, very selective with that. So Tamara is level 2. Awesome. John, level 2. Cool. Good deal. So these are, again, rough numbers. I'm sure probably, updated, but that's the latest that I have from that. So that's a quick overview. Without further ado, what I want to do real fast is just go over all 5 certifications very quickly. We're going to get into the details for each of them in just a minute. But first off, I just want to kind of review what they are, especially for those of you who are just kind of getting started and learning about this. Let me show you this. So here's an overview of the certification. So first off is level 1, Certified Google Educator level 1. A level 1 educator is a proficient user of the core Google services. So Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Sites, YouTube, Google Classroom, things like that. You do not have to be a technology wizard. You don't have to be a coder or, something like that to be level 1. It is my belief that any classroom teacher who uses technology on a somewhat regular, normal basis. You don't have to have a flipped classroom or anything like that. Anyone who uses tech in their classroom can achieve the level 1 certification. Absolutely. Now, the level 2 is a step up from that. Level 2 certification is an advanced or master level user. Level 2 goes beyond just the core services and gets into some of the secondary services that Google offers, things like Blogger, Google Maps, Google Books, Google Scholar, Google Arts and Culture, things like that. It also gets into some more advanced applications of the core services. So we talk about Google Sheets. We're getting into some more things like pivot tables and formulas, Google, even Chrome, Chromebooks, Chrome apps and extensions, things like that. Not every teacher will do well on the level 2 certification. You kind of have to just enjoy technology if you're going to go for level 2. If you view technology as something, like my wife is a very proficient user, but she uses technology to get stuff done. But she doesn't like go out of her way to do it. Like me, the new Gmail comes out and I'm like, sign me up. I'm going right now. If that's you, then you're probably a good fit for the level 2 certification. We'll get into some more detail about the difference between level 2 and 1 in just a little bit. Now, level 1 and 2 are kind of the starting place. You really have to start with those if you're going to go into any of the other advanced certifications. So Google Certified Trainer is for individuals who primarily support teachers who use technology. So if you're in charge of leading professional development, workshops, things like that, then you might be a good fit for the Certified Trainer program. You must have a level 1 and 2 certification in order to become a certified trainer. So you definitely have to kind of work your way up through that. Certified Administrator is actually kind of off by itself. It really doesn't have a direct connection with any of the certifications we've talked about so far. That is definitely for IT administrators and individuals whose job is to manage G Suite for Education and Chromebooks. So you need to be an expert in the Google Admin Console to pass and achieve that certification. Last one on this list is the Certified Innovator. That is the most difficult of all the certifications, simply because it is an application-based certification. You must have a level 2 certification, and you must fill out an application to that program. But Google reviews those applications and selects, based on their criteria, the individuals they believe will make the best innovators for the program. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but definitely something to consider. But the challenge with the innovator program is it's not 100% up to you. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of people who are more than qualified. However, not everyone can be accepted. So that is a quick overview. And I see questions coming in related to the planning guide. So if you have that nearby, I've got my copy here. I'd encourage you to pull it out and take a look. Now, this is a very simple tool, okay? Now, you can read the questions. Obviously, you can kind of game them to fit, whatever answer or outcome you feel would be optimal. So let me walk you through this. If you haven't filled it out, go ahead and do so, and I'll kind of help you out with the results. So each question has a number next to it. So the first one there, why do you want certified? To learn how to use Google tools more effectively. That has a value of 1. And so what I want you to do is add up the points that you've earned on that first section, and then again on that second section. And I will give you kind of the key to what that means. Let me share this so you can see it as well. So if you add up your score from the first section and the second section, I'll pull this up so that you guys can look at it as well. If you scored 10 points or less, then my suggestion would be to focus on the level 1 certification. I think you're well suited for that, and you should be just fine. If you scored between 10 and 15 points, then I believe that you would be a good candidate to get the 1 and 2 certifications. If you score between 16 and 21, then you'd be a good candidate for Certified Innovator. And if you're 21 to 27, then Certified Trainer. Now, this has nothing to do with your quality as a teacher, with your ability to use technology effectively. The challenge, especially with the Certified Innovator and Trainer certifications, is they have additional requirements and expectations that go along with them. So especially like certified trainer, once you get certified, you have to maintain your certification by leading a minimum of 12 professional development activities per year. So basically one a month. So if you're a classroom teacher, some can do it, but a lot of teachers find it difficult to get out of classroom enough to either attend conferences and speak at them, or lead workshops or webinars or things like that. So this is just a guide. Now, if you scored, a 16 or, an 18 or something like that, and you're not certified at all, that's fine. All that means is that you are currently doing and have the attitudes that would help you become a certified innovator. Now, if you scored a 12 and you're like, but I wanted to become an innovator, well, that's totally fine. But like for the innovator program, if you're not active on Twitter or Google+, if you don't have a blog, if you're not posting content to YouTube, those are all things that they look at in the Certified Innovator application. And so you probably are going to want to do some of those things for 6 to 12 months, so that when you apply, all of that content is available and ready to go. So you guys are quite funny here. Nancy, man, you must have answered some of these twice. 54. That's impressive. Nicely done. Nicely done. Heather, I see you there. Less than 10. That's totally fine. That doesn't mean you shouldn't apply or can't become certified. It just means that you may need to start doing some things before you get certified. And it may just mean that it's going to take you a little bit longer to prepare and get to a level where you can be successful on the certification test. It's just a simple tool to help you kind of identify where you're at, so that you can decide what you need to do next. So that's, I'll pull this down here. Just a quick guide for that. Now, I do want to give full credit to Eric Kurtz. He put a great certification checklist together that I use and reference to create this and a couple other things. He's awesome. He blogs over at Control Alt Achieve. And I'll put a link up with access to his stuff here in a little bit. Cool. Well, I just want to pause for a minute and look through the comments, make sure I didn't miss anything. Emily, I appreciate the feedback. I will, yes, it does say less than 10. I'm going to change that. Noted. I was a English teacher, not math, for sure. Thank you for the feedback. Cool. Eric, I saw a question from you earlier about, how to, market yourself and, do consulting. Google says they will help you with that. I've been a certified trainer since the program started, and I have received, I think, maybe 3 leads from them. So becoming a trainer is not going to land you a huge pipeline of opportunities and leads. You're going to have to go out there and market yourself and find those opportunities. For me, probably my best way for me to do that is speaking at conferences. Nice thing about speaking is that you get in for free. So I try to speak at every conference. They will let me in the door as long as my budget and travel allows. So that would be it. Christy, I see a comment from you there about getting everyone certified at your school. I wrote a whole blog post about this. Should you certify everyone? The short answer is no. Mandating certification, I have worked with districts who have done that, and it does not go well. There are some teachers who just don't have either the personal motivation or interest in the program, and it's just tough. Now, I do believe that a school administrator can recommend or even incentivize teachers to get certified, but it really has to come out of an intrinsic motivation from the teacher. And if you are interested, we're going to talk about the Google Certification Academy in a little bit, which is the program that I run, which will help everybody get ready. I do those publicly, share that, but I also do private ones. I've got one going on in Indianapolis, Boulder, or Colorado Springs this summer, and then one in the Philadelphia area. So send me an email, Christy, if that's of interest, and we can chat, see if we can get that on the calendar. Oh, cool. Christopher, thanks for sharing Control Alt Achieve. That's Eric's blog. That's awesome. Looks good. So cool. So now that we've covered kind of the basics of the certification, who they're for, I want to dig into the details and talk about the individual certifications, how to do it, what they cost, and how to get started. And then we're going to bring on Lissa and chat with her about her experience taking those exams and completing that process in the recent last summer. So first off, we're going to talk about level 1 and 2. Now, I do know we have quite a few people on the call, on the webinar here, who are already a level 1 certified educator. And so for you guys, this will be applicable because if you're interested in going to level 2, level 1 and 2 are kind of organized the same way. So there's a lot of overlap between them. So I already mentioned, level 1 is definitely an intermediate level. You're a proficient Google user, whereas level 2 is more advanced. Level 2 is going to get into tools that not everybody uses, things like YouTube, Google Groups, a little bit of even Chrome app management. Level 2 also has a little more emphasis on being like a lead teacher, curating resources for people, starting a blog to share technology lessons and things like that as well. So definitely a step up from the level 1. Now, first off, let's work through the criteria. To become a level 1 certified educator, you need to pass a certification exam which tests your knowledge and ability to use Google products in the classroom. Now, the program has been around for quite a while, and it used to be really, really heavily focused on what I called Google trivia. They would ask you like, how many labels can you apply to a message? Or how many people can you email at one time? Things that normal people don't really need to know. That is no longer the case. Your certification exam, and this is both the level 1 and 2 exams, they're arranged the same way, has 2 components. Section 1 is 20 multiple choice and matching questions. Now, these aren't your traditional multiple choice questions. These are more like the ones your students are probably taking right now with M-STEP or PARC or SBAC exams, where you have to drag and drop and organize and arrange and things like that. So, for example, they might give you a list of classroom tasks. So, grading, feedback, lesson planning, sub-plans, things like that, and then a bunch of Google tools and products, and you have to match the correct tool with the correct application, something along those lines. So you'll get 20 of those questions. That is the shorter part of the exam. The longer part of the exam are the application scenarios. Now, it's pretty cool, actually. And those of you who have taken the level 1 test already, go ahead and share some of your thoughts in the chat. The scenarios are really intriguing or very engaging. Honestly, people think I'm weird when I say this, but it was the most enjoyable exam I have ever taken. So when you register for the test, Google will send you a special Google account. It's this crazy long number at testing center something.com. You log into this Google account using those credentials, and they ask you a series of questions. You are a teacher in this fictional school, and they'll say things like, Mr. Jones, your principal requires that you turn in weekly lesson plans. Go into Google Drive and find the file called whatever and share it with Mr. Jones, giving him comment-only access. And you actually have to perform the actions that they specify. Now, there are 10 scenarios, but those scenarios may have anywhere from 1 to 10 parts in them. So they may say, create this document, add this table, add a comment, put this link in, share it with this person, put it in a folder, all of that kind of stuff. It's really fun. It really does test your knowledge of using the products in very natural, common classroom applications. It's really, really cool. So level 1 and level 2 are arranged the same way. They just have different scenario questions. Now, this is a pass-fail exam. Minimum passing score is an 80%. But they don't actually tell you what percent that you earn. So once you're complete, you press finish, and it just kind of sits there for a minute, and it just says pass or fail. It doesn't tell you a whole lot. Well, honestly, it doesn't really tell you anything. The time limit for the exam is 180 minutes. That time is sufficient, but not excessive. You will use all 180 minutes. I see a couple people commenting about the time limit, and yes, I would say one of the most common reasons that people do not pass is they simply run out of time. You really have to watch the clock and make sure that you're not spending too much time on any one question. I'll send these tips to you, but roughly you want to spend 60 minutes or less on the multiple choice question. Really, if you need to spend as little time as possible so that you can spend the bulk of your time on the application scenarios. You do need to pay for these exams. This is the best deal in education ever. The level 1 exam is $10. That is absolutely the best deal around. Level 2 is $25. You know, I'm not even going to tell you how much money I paid for my master's degree. These two tests, the $35 I spent on taking these, has hands down paid itself far more than my master's degree, for sure. Those of you, if you're interested in doing level 1 and 2, I've worked with over 1,300 teachers in helping them do this, and it's very interesting. Most teachers say that the level 1 test is harder than level 2. I don't really think that is because of the content. I think it's because of the unique exam experience. You take level 1, you pass. By the time you take level 2, you kind of know the format, you know how to manage your time, you're familiar with kind of the setup, the pressure, how it works. So most people find level 2 to be a little bit easier than the first one. Now, you will get a certificate that looks like this when you pass, and your certification is good for 3 years. After the 3 years, you have to retake the test again. Google changes a lot, so I feel that's a reasonable expectation, but you get a very nice, very official certificate that shows your completion of the process. Agnes is asking about how many times you can take the exam. You can take the exam 3 times in a calendar year. So the way it works, and I'm going to send all this info to you. If you do not pass the first time you take it, you must wait 2 weeks before you can take it a second time. If you don't pass the second time, I have to look it up. I think it's a month, 30 days, I think. And then the third time, if you don't pass, you'd have to wait a year to take it. A lot of people do not pass the first time. I'd say that somewhere between 20 and 30% of people do not pass the first time. But I would say 95% pass the second time. And again, I don't think this is due to knowledge. I think it's primarily due to just the unique experience of taking the exam. So keep that in mind. So that's a little bit of detail on level 1 and 2, costs, time limits, all of that. Each of you is going to receive a detailed guide to all of this. It's my ultimate guide to Google certifications. And I'll send that out tomorrow, actually. So each of you is going to get this. It details everything I'm sharing with you right now and way, way more tips, study resources, a whole bunch of stuff. So I'll talk more about the guide here in a little bit after we're done with the overview. Now let's talk about certified trainer. So in order to become a Google certified trainer, you must have a level 1 and 2 certification. So if you're interested in being a certified trainer, honestly, don't even worry about any of this stuff until you've gotten your 1 and 2 certs done. Then you can continue the process. First, you have to take this Trainer Essentials exam, which is more of an old school style multiple choice test. It's actually just a Google form quiz, which is a little cheesy. 25 questions, and it asks you. It's a kind of a weird mix of questions. It asks, certified trainers are frequently hired by school districts who are just adopting Google or purchasing Chromebooks. And so a lot of the questions on the Trainer Essentials exam focus on privacy, security. I have a lot of principals who say, hey, is Google spying on my students? How does Google handle FERPA, COPA, things like that? So there's a whole series of resources that'll help you prepare for that. But it's a little more administrative, kind of school leadership level stuff for the Certified Trainer program. $15 for that exam, 90 minutes. In addition, so you got to pass level 1, level 2 certified or Trainer Essentials, and then you submit an application. Now, the exams are designed to help you demonstrate your knowledge of the tools and the products. The application is designed for you to demonstrate your ability to lead a Google Google professional development experience. So a workshop, a webinar, a lunch and learn, speak at a conference, something like that. So the application includes some biographical information, and the big thing is this 3-minute video. So you introduce yourself for the first minute, and then the second 2 minutes, you have to do a training. So this isn't like a workshop. It's like a screencast. So you do like a video on understanding the new Gmail interface in 2 minutes, something very simple. In the Ultimate Certification Guide that I'm going to send you, I have several exemplary videos that you can look at. So if you're interested in becoming a certified trainer, there's some resources here that will help you get started. You submit your application. Those are reviewed on a rolling basis. I think they review them once a quarter. So every 3 months, they take everything they've got, they review it. And if they feel you're a good fit for the program, then you'll be invited in. There's no quota. Anybody who is qualified will be accepted into the program. Once you are certified as a trainer, you have a couple of ongoing requirements. You must record a minimum of 12 training activities and share resources and be active in the community. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that you can meet those quotas. I see quite a few people interested in becoming certified trainers. One of the things, the most common reason that applications are rejected is lack of experience. So you may be a Google wizard in your ability to use the products, but if you can't demonstrate a past commitment or a past history of, speaking at conferences, leading workshops, participating in Twitter chats, sharing things on YouTube, your blog, etc., then you're probably not going to be accepted into the program. Using Google with students is great, but is not going to get you into the Certified Trainer program. The Certified Trainer is really for individuals who support adult leaders and learners in their use of Google in the classroom. So just keep that in mind. Technology integration specialists, media specialists, teachers on special assignment, things like that as well. Tamara, I see your question there. So number one reason applications are rejected is lack of experience. The second reason applications are rejected are, either technical issues or with your application. So if you forget to share documents, if your video is 3.5 minutes long, I guarantee you will not be accepted. Google is really, really militant about this is the expectation, follow the expectation precisely to the letter. So those are some of the things I would look at. If you didn't get accepted, do it again. There's no cost to apply to the program. So unfortunately, they don't give you a lot of feedback, but I would look at, your past experience and then maybe just polish up your application material a little bit. So that's a little bit about the Certified Trainer program. Let's move on to Certified Innovator. This one's actually pretty cool because we're just actually coming up to an Innovator Academy. You must have a level 2 certification to apply to become a Certified Innovator. I recommend you just do level 1 and 2. It's kind of silly to me to think that you do level 2 and skip over level 1. You can, they're not prereqs, but I would do 1 and then 2. You do have to apply. It's an application-based program, as I mentioned. So you apply. The application includes a video and an outline. So the whole point of the Innovator Academy is you have to identify an innovation project. So this is a problem issue that you are trying to solve. It doesn't have to be directly connected to a classroom. It can be kind of a social problem as well. So maybe you want to get more girls into computer science or something like that. So you identify this problem, and that's what your video is on, and that's what your initial kind of innovation project outline is. You don't have to have it fully fleshed out. You really just have to identify the problem in your application, and then when you go to the Innovator Academy, which is at a Google office, you begin working and connecting with other people and support one another to solve that problem, to come up with a solution for it. This is the only program that does have an on-site requirement. So you would apply to one of the 5 programs that you see listed there. This is a global program. So right now, actually, this week is the deadline for the Amsterdam program. And then we have one in Madrid, Spain. The United States one this year is in Venice, California. July 9 through 11 is the program. The application deadline is like 2 months before that, so I think it's going to be sometime in mid-May. Then we have Denmark and Mexico City. So the English language ones are going to be Venice and Copenhagen. Now, obviously, if you're from the U.S., the Venice one is going to be closer, but you certainly could apply to the Copenhagen Academy as well. They do give a little bit of preference to those within the country, but they usually accept a few international teachers in for each one also. If you're interested in the Innovator program, you absolutely need to head over to the Google Education website and look at the due dates for this. You're really going to have to hustle to get your application in for the Venice program. They do this every year. Usually they do a couple in the summer and then through the fall. So if this is something you're interested in, then just keep it in mind, maybe you work on your level 1 and 2 certification this summer so that next summer you're in a position to apply to the program. Good question from Danita. Google, there is no charge to attend the academy, but transportation and housing costs are paid by each individual. So you'd have to get there. They do a great job of wining and dining you once you arrive, and they provide all of your meals during the days, but lodging and airfare you'd have to come up with on your own. It is definitely a commitment. This is what I attended in Boulder, Colorado, and I will tell you, hands down, it was the best experience of my life. It's awesome. There are only 1,200 innovators globally. Last one that we'll talk about tonight. I know we have a couple administrators here. The Google Certified Administrator program is for IT directors. It's organized in a very similar way to the level 1 and 2 exams. Again, they're going to give you a special account. You're going to log into the special Google admin console. They're going to ask you a series of questions. And they're going to say you hired a bunch of people, create new users, and restrict their access to Google Drive or something like that. So you do need, so Google recommends you have a minimum of 6 months experience in the Google admin console before you take the Certified Administrator exam. It is more expensive. It's $100. It's 2-hour time limits, again, pass fail, and it's an 18-month certification. Now, I say all of that. However, Google is currently revamping this program. And so if you head over to the admin page, it is not currently available. You cannot register for the admin exam at this time. It's been down for, I think since like December or January. It's supposed to come up this spring. I'm actually kind of surprised it's not ready yet. My admin certification is technically expired right now, so I need to retake this. So I'm waiting for it to come back so that I can take it as well. One tip about the admin exam to keep in mind, this is not written from an education perspective. It's written from a business perspective. So, the scenarios aren't going to say, you hired a bunch of teachers. It's going to say you hired a bunch of subcontractors from a staffing agency. They should not have access to email, go in and restrict it. Or you got new Android phones for your sales staff, go in and configure it accordingly. So all the controls are the same. You just have to kind of transfer it in your mind from an educational setting and perspective. That's a quick overview of the exams, and I'm going to pause, turn off the screen share for a minute, and just I'm going to take a look at the questions coming in, and I'm going to welcome our special guest this evening, Lissa Brunan, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her experience taking these exams last summer, and how she prepared and things like that. So Lissa, thanks for joining me. Thanks for sitting in the background quietly all this time.
Hey, thanks for having me. I love hearing it.
Good. So first off, just introduce yourself. You're Grand Valley, but tell us what you do and how you support technology.
Yeah, so to sum up a life in education, my parents were both teachers at my high school. And so I kind of got drawn into the career haphazardly. I didn't think there was any other careers out there. And so I taught middle school math for about 6 years and got my master's in ed tech. And it started a little bit of an obsession. Tech wasn't really available in the schools when I was teaching, but I could scrape and find some things to work on and get the kids excited about. And I think just seeing the excitement in the kids and the engagement that changed, it kind of made me think long term, I want to do this for my career. I want to help kids. I want to help teachers. I really want to see education change for the better and not fall behind the times. So when the kids get out, they can't function in their jobs because they don't have the skills they need from their classrooms. So that's kind of my background. Right now I'm at Grand Valley. I teach in the College of Ed Tech course, which is really fun, undergrads who are going into education. And then I support about 74 schools, I think now in Michigan. one of which Corey Woodward is the principal of. So good job, Corey, on winning that prize. I was shouting in the background, muted for you. So yeah, so that's my job right now, is to support teachers, and Google has been a huge part of that, and our schools are transitioning to that. So it's been fun to see teachers go on that journey.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super glad that you're still in pre-service ed tech. I reflect on my experience in my ed tech program.
Yeah.
It was not so good. We were doing things that were like 10 years behind the times. So
we have come a long way.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions about your experience here in a minute. I was looking at the questions. I want to just hit a couple of these. I don't want to leave people hanging here. So I've got a question from Sam. She's not a teacher, admin assistant, guy department, district wants everyone to be certified. That's great. Again, personally, I don't think that requiring all staff to be certified is the right way to go about it. I would incentivize it, recommend it, encourage it, support it. Sam, if you are a daily user of Gmail, Drive, Calendar, Sites, all those tools, I absolutely think that the level 1 exam would be great. You should be fine with that. Cool. Nancy asked about a virtual study group. Awesome. Stick with me, Nancy. I've got something to announce, a secret thing I've been holding out on you guys at the end about that you might be interested in. Cool. I think that was it. Somebody said the level 1 exam was super intense. Totally agree. Several people asking about recording of this. Absolutely. Everybody's going to get a recording of the whole thing tomorrow. I'll send that out. So cool. I think those are the main ones. So Lissa, first question for you. Tell us which certification have you taken so far?
All right. So in this past year, I've completed the level 1 certification. So I'm officially a level 1 certified educator. I am in the process of level 2 with sites on innovator and trainer for sure.
Okay. All right.
That's the process.
So you took level 1 last summer. Give us a quick overview. Like, what did you do to prepare? What resources did you find to be helpful as you set your sights on that?
Right. So between, Google, right, you can search anything, and YouTube, there's really all this training out there, but I really needed to kind of get focused. Google has obviously the modules set up that I went through, but those to me, I'm an explorer and I feel like I need to know everything before I go take the exam. So the hard part with that with me was I was going down rabbit holes and I was learning, but I was feeling like I was getting away from the content I needed. So one of the things I really love, I'll plug yours, John, is the Google Certification Academy. I actually went through that and got some real focus on what I needed to learn. I had some great resources to go over. And then I met some really cool people that kind of were also in that same mindset that I could talk to about not just the tools, but how are you using the tools? And sometimes for me, it's not looking at what is this tool designed for, it's what is it really capable of? Like, how can I use this in the classroom? So that conversation in itself with some of the educators, along with obviously John's training and guidance, were super, super helpful in getting that certification. But it's scary. Like, I think I put it off for probably 3 months to actually push the go button because I was terrified of the format.
You didn't feel ready?
I thought I knew everything, but you never know, right? So I just kind of hesitated on myself. And if you feel comfortable with Google stuff, you've gone over all the modules, I would totally encourage you, do it, hit go, take it. You're going to be surprised in how fun it is. I thought it was, John, I'm crazy like you. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, one of my top tips for especially the level 1 exam is pick a date. Take it on that date. You will never feel ready. There is always one more video you can watch, one more thing you can read, one more feature you can investigate. You will never reach the bottom. Google is a bottomless pit of features and buttons and whatnot. Look, the exam is only $10. And educators you guys are funny people. I think an overabundance of educators are type A personalities, because the thought of like failing an exam just freaks you out. Nobody will know other than you. So if you don't pass the first time, you've wasted $10. I mean, hey, I spend more than $10 at Starbucks, on a whim. So take it once. If you don't pass, I am 98% confident that you'll pass the second time with no problem. So Lissa, tell us about the actual exam experience. You know, you said you were kind of nervous. You got in there. Talk to me first about that first multiple choice section.
Yeah. So first of all, you need to find a quiet space where you can actually focus. So if you have kids running around at home, or you're in the middle of a school day and you know you're going to get interruptions, probably not the best time to do it. So like John said, like find a date and a time where you know you can close yourself off, hunker down for 3 hours. And yeah, I got in and I'm like, man, this is going to be a long 3 hours. I looked at the first question and I felt confident that I knew it. And so I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad. And I think I got to the second or third one, and all of a sudden it was like, pick the best 3 answers.
Yeah, those are tough.
And those can be a little tricky. The nice part for me was when I took it, it actually told you like pick 3. So it didn't say which are the best. Like you didn't know if it was 2 or 4 or 10. So that was kind of helpful. But the multiple choice part, there were a couple things, but I think the biggest thing that I've heard, at least from everybody else, it's Google. They want you to Google things as a skill. So don't be afraid to like open another window and search for something if you can't actually find it. It's probably not Googleable, but at least you can find some resources to make a best guess.
Yeah, that first multiple choice section, it is a little tricky. Some of those are a little opinion based, yeah. I think, you know, those you're going to have a harder time Googling. But yeah, so now walk me through that second section, those scenarios. Can you remember one that sticks in your mind as like, oh man, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it was actually it was really engaging, right? So you get to show off your skills. You get to go, hey, I learned how to do this. Now I can actually do it. And all the tools are set for you. So, you know, it's basically do this. The one that I remember, and I remember, John, I think you warned me about it, is Sheets is always the one that I think is at the bottom of everybody's like interest level. And so you don't dive in as deeply or practice as much. So I think there were a couple things on Sheets I was like, I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. Or is this where the button actually is that I'm supposed to be doing? So the Sheets one, I would say if there's any advice I could give, spend a little more time on Sheets. But the sites was really fun. You create your own website. There were some things in Gmail that I didn't use necessarily all the time. And it kind of was like, oh, I can actually do that like in my real life. So it gave me some skills as I was taking it too to think about.
For sure. Cool. How was time for you?
It wasn't bad. So I had talked to a lot of people who had taken it before me just to get some advice. And it was always like, block the 3 hours, right? Don't think you're going to get it done in an hour. But for me, the best tip I got from somebody was, if you don't know it, quick try and look up and see if you can get a resource to help you make that decision to the best of your ability, right? If you can't find that, there's a bookmark feature that you can just bookmark it, move on, and then at the end, when you know you have time left, you can go back and kind of dig deeper. So for me, there was a couple things I bookmarked and just didn't worry about it, and it didn't waste all my time, which was really helpful.
Yeah, you do have to keep an eye on the time. You really can't second guess yourself. You have to be confident in your knowledge. You can open book exams, honestly, are sometimes worse than closed, because now you're like, oh, I'm going to just look that up and just double, triple check. And you cannot do that. You will run out of time. So you really want to save as much time as you can, because you are going to get 1 or 2 questions that you will absolutely be like, I don't even know what that is. And that's when you want to spend your time to look things up. It is an open book exam. I mean, you can open up a new tab and search for anything you want and find it. So it does certainly test your search capabilities. Now, tell us a little bit about your actual physical exam setup. I know some people are like 2 monitors, 2 computers. Did you do any of that?
I did. I actually had two different monitors. So I had my laptop running with the exam going, and then I had my work computer. I locked myself in my office. So, and I put a do not disturb, like a big do not disturb sign on my door, because I was about to strangle anybody that came in. But I was facing my monitor with that. I had my other one up, and I actually had my cell phone with me too, because there are certain things I think I can get to faster on my cell phone. So I kind of had 3 available places to go. But I definitely liked having a separate screen at least, because if you pull up a new tab, I mean, the last thing you want to do is close the tab that you're testing on, right? So I wanted to stay as far away from that as possible and not make that mistake. So.
Great. Yeah, a lot of people find that either having just 2 devices, so they'll have, like, if you can get a Chromebook from school, one Chromebook that actually has the test on it, and then a second Chromebook that you can use to just look things up and things like that. I have 2 monitors, so that's helpful as well. Yeah, there's a lot of little tips that you can apply to help. You want to be as efficient as possible for sure. Absolutely. So you've been certified now for a little while, this school year. I mean, do you feel that earning that certification has been a helpful experience? Is it?
Without a doubt. I mean, without a doubt, it has changed how I function in my job, how I encourage other people to like share and collaborate. And I actually, in my ed tech course, have added it, at least taking the exam, not passing necessarily, but taking it as part of our curriculum so that they go through the modules and they get the experience. And if they pass, great, they have a badge and they're one of the, you know, how many did you say? I wrote it down, 15,000 or whatever, level 1s, and they can go out there and get a job. So they're pre-service teachers, so they can go out there and do that. So it's definitely changed my mindset. I would say I was a hardcore like anti-Google person a few years back, but just seeing how big it's getting, how useful it is, and how many applications it has in the classroom. You're fighting a tidal wave if you think you're just going to stay away from it. So,
yeah. And I really do think that Google has done an excellent job in creating this. I mean, they're not trying to necessarily make people who are only proficient at their services and tools. I mean, the questions they're asking are really trying to get to how can we improve instruction, improve learning, improve feedback, grading, assessment through the use of these tools. So I mean, if you strip the word Google from the exam, I still think it would be valuable. There's a lot of tips and techniques that really do improve education. Okay. Well, Lissa, I appreciate you jumping on and sharing your experience. And I don't know if you're seeing the chat here, but there's a lot of great tips and suggestions being added in there as well, which is awesome. So
can I throw one more out there and then I'll sign off here?
Yeah.
When a couple of people were talking earlier and they talked about a whole school wanting to get on board, I've heard a thing in the past that say start the wildfire effect. Get your power users to do it and get them excited about it, and the kids will start talking. And then the other teachers will say, well, what are you doing there? And then have those teachers help those teachers get on board. And before you know it, everybody's going to want to be certified. But when you force it, I think there's more resistance there. So the wildfire effect is always the way to go.
I love it. Nope, yep. I absolutely agree. Cool. Well, Lissa, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good luck, you guys, on your certification.
So we've talked about the different exams and the details of them. I'm going to give you some specific steps to take to prepare for your certification. Now, Lissa went over a few of these already. They were great tips. Number one, the first thing that I would recommend, I mentioned this already, Eric Kurtz from Ohio has put together a marvelous checklist that identifies all of the various tasks and skills that are assessed on the exam. So he's broken that down by tool. So you can look at Gmail. These are the things I need to know, and calendar and drive and sites and all of that. You can download his guide and see how many things that you can check off. Then you look at that list, and the things that you cannot check off, those are the things that you need to study. So that's where I would begin. Now, the second thing here, this is the absolute most important and most basic, is you have to use the tools on a daily basis. I mean, I know we've got Microsoft Office, you've got, iWork, all those other tools. Those are great. They're fine. I have nothing against them. But if you want to be a Google Certified Educator, you have to use them full-time 100%. You can't be like, oh, I'm just going to jump over in Word and do that. You've got to use it all the time. Gmail, calendar, drive, sites. Like, if you really like Weebly or Wix or WordPress, that's totally fine. You got to use Google Sites because that's what you need to know. So that's second and foremost. Thirdly, as you identify the areas that you need to improve your skills, Google has created an extremely detailed and comprehensive training program. It's 100% free. They have two different programs. They have the fundamentals training, which is for the level 1 exam. It is, I think, 10 or 11 modules of content. There's videos and assignments, practice questions, all that kind of stuff. You should go through that. Now, it's lengthy. I actually went through and added up, the time it would take you to complete all the different sections. And to do everything, you're looking at 15 to 20 hours of study. You can go through the whole thing, but I would, again, identify where you need to practice and then just focus your time on those things. If you're going for level 2, there's an advanced training module as well. That one is a little bit shorter. I think that's like 10 to 12 hours worth of content, and you can poke your way through that also. There's a module for the Trainer Essentials if you're working on Certified Trainer, and then the Google Admin has a totally separate training center and resource for that that you can check out that goes through the admin console. So those are kind of, again, I wouldn't do all of it. I would kind of pick and choose based on what you think is what you need. Another thing you can consider, especially if you're going in for that level 1 certification, Google purchased, they bought a company a while ago that has developed this Chrome extension that provides on-demand explanations and training for their products. It's called the G Suite Training Extension. You just do a Google search for it, you'll find it. It's really cool. So you can turn it on and go into any Google product and click a button, and it'll tell you what this does and how to use it. So that's going to be helpful if you're kind of just getting into Google, just adjusting and adapting to it. If you've been using it for a while, that's probably not as helpful for you. The fifth thing that I've got on my list here is to consider attending the Google Certification Academy. That's a program that I developed about 5 years ago. Lissa mentioned it briefly. It's an on-site event. It's a 2-day event that I lead. And during those 2 days, we will cover every single product referenced on the certification exam and help you prepare. So that is excellent for the level 1 and level 2 exams. And then I also provide support for the Certified Trainer and Innovator programs if you're ready for that. So let me give you a quick overview here. I have 15 Google Certification Academies planned over the summer. You can see the list there. If you visit geducator.com, you can take a look closer at that. Next one coming up, I've got one in Georgia, right outside Atlanta, at the end of May, and then one in North Florida, up in the Jacksonville area at the end of May as well. Several in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, South Carolina, Delaware, Kansas City area as well. So if you're in one of those regions, I would love to work with you. Now, this is a 2-day event. There is a cost to it. It's $299 a person. That includes lunch, continuing education credits, some other fun surprises as well. I can do purchase order and credit card registrations. Again, visit geducator.com/register to see where the events are and the time. Now, if there isn't an event near you, I do have a very, very limited number of spots available for additional events. So if you are interested in bringing this event to your school district, we need to talk very, very soon. If you visit geducator.com/host, you can learn more. There is no cost to host this event at your school. And as a thank you for hosting and providing your facilities, I will provide your school district with 3 or more registrations. We then market and promote this event to the districts in your area. and they pay to attend. So it's a really good model that allows you to attend for free and your district to host this event for no charge. I really only do them in the summer because school buildings are available and it's a lot of work to do it. So it's best to work on it in the summer. My schedule is like 85% full right now. So I have a couple of spots later in the summer, like July, August, that I can stick some additional events in. So if you're interested, send me an email or just visit geducator.com/host and can chat more about that. Now, this event, you absolutely do not need to attend the Google Certification Academy to get certified. I mean, everything that I've shared with you today, if you follow this advice, you can do it on your own. I just understand, Lissa kind of touched on this, and I'm the same way. This isn't an urgent thing. Like, no one's going to sit there and hold your feet to the fire and make you do this. And summers get busy and things happen and we push it off. I mean, it's like the pile of books sitting on my dresser that I mean to read. So attending the Google Certification Academy, the reason that I charge for it is because when you pay for something, you value it, you're going to show up, you're going to put in the effort, and it's kind of an accountability tool. And if you really want to do this, I would encourage you either to attend my event or put together your own kind of study club at your school. It's much better to do it with others than try to do it on their own. Irvin, yes, I do want to come to the Caribbean. Absolutely. Sign me up. That looks great. Any tropical place sounds wonderful. So that's, one option you have. Love to work with you if that makes sense. Like I said, we got 15 events scheduled throughout the year. Regardless of whether or not you choose to attend the Certification Academy, I am going to send each and every one of you my ultimate guide to Google certification. I have been working on this guide for over a year. You guys are the first group to receive it. It's the first time I'm making this publicly available. This is free of charge. It goes into even greater depth about preparing for your certification. I'm even providing you with some sample exam questions that you can consider. Take a look at, test yourself, additional study material beyond the things that I've mentioned here today, a list of test-taking tips and resources. If you're applying to the Certified Trainer program, there's some application examples, how to create a great application and all of that. So this is a 30-some page PDF guide. This is going to be sent out tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., along with a recording of this webinar. Now, I have a very exciting thing to let you know about. This is brand new because I know that not all of you are in a place where you can attend the Google Certification Academy. The price may be an issue, timing, scheduling, all of that. So I am creating a Facebook support group to help anyone who's interested in becoming a Google Certified Educator. So this is a private group, and there is a cost to register. A regular price is $69. So this is kind of a cohort for this year. And again, you can do all of this on your own. You do not need to join this group. But I understand that having a support network, accountability, someone to say, hey, how's it going? What can we do? Is helpful. So if you're interested in that type of a experience, this is a great opportunity for you, especially if you're international. I can't get everywhere. And so this is open to anyone in the world. Regular price for this is $69. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., I'm going to open up the group for registration, and the first person who registers will pay $1. Now, this is called bump sale pricing. The first person pays $1. The second person pays $2, the third person pays $3, and so on until 69 people register, at which point it goes, to the regular price. So early bird gets the worm. In my email, that's 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, Cindy. So, yep, correct. It'll have the video, the guide, and a link to join the Facebook group. And like I said, the price goes up $1 every time someone purchases it. So should be fun. I've never done this before. I've seen others do it, but thought it would be interesting. So that's 10 a.m. Eastern time. I'm in Michigan, East Coast, so we can go ahead and adjust. Now, this again is for anybody. Agnes, I see Facebook at your district. Yeah, if they block it, you won't be able to get it at the school, but certainly pull it up on your phone or on your laptop at home if you wish. So $1. It's credit card only. I'm not doing purchase orders for this. So look for that email tomorrow. That is just about it for today. Interested in giving away kind of a couple more things, a couple more books that I want to give out to someone. So I want to see, I'm going to give 2 more copies away of books. First one, I want to see who has been teaching the longest. How many years have you been teaching? I'm going to give this away to our most veteran experienced teacher. Give a copy of my book, The Chromebook Classroom. And then we'll wrap up for the evening. So I'm just going to take a look here. So Deborah has 35. All right, Deborah's the winner so far. Another Cindy, Deborah. Good, good, good. All right, I think, looks like, unless someone has 35, more than 35, we've got a tie. So Cindy Engelhard and Todd has 40. Impressive. So I'm going to award a copy of my book, The Chromebook Classroom, to, we're going to give 1 copy to Todd and another copy to Cindy as well for 35. There's Susan. So actually, I'll give 3 away. We got plenty. So Susan Endler, you win a copy of my book. If you will send me an email with your mailing address, I will get that out to you. Also, Cindy Engelhard, if you send me your email or your postal address, I'll do that. And finally, let's see who had Todd. There he is. Yeah, Todd, if you'd send me your postal address, I'll get you a copy as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure to share with you this evening. I appreciate all the great comments in the chat as well. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. We still have over 100 people on the live stream, which is very impressive. My firm belief is that becoming a Google Certified Educator can help make you a better teacher and improve your use of technology in the classroom. And it is my desire to help you get there. So I'm going to do my best to provide as many resources and opportunities as I can to help you cross that finish line. So the next time you'll hear from me is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern with a recording of this webinar, the PDF guide, and an opportunity to join that Facebook group as well. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great night. Hope to cross paths with you sometime soon.